Hey guys, today we're talking about returns and keeping the bigger picture in mind in your reselling business. I'm 𝗪𝗏𝗶𝗹, and if you're into reselling on Amazon and eBay or Poshmark or Mercari, come hang out and subscribe. So today we're going to be talking about returns. I started selling on eBay a couple years ago, and at first I was so against returns. And like I would make my buyers pay for returns, and like I was that newbie seller that was, sorry if you're in this boat, but I'd make my sellers pay for return shipping. I would try and get it so that they didn't return things. I would get stressed about it and freak out if someone wanted to return something that was like a $40 item. And as things progressed, started to realize that I would actually get more sales if I offered free returns. That was probably more like a year and a half ago. But you literally get more sales if you do free returns and free shipping. Those customer-centric things that for us as sellers, like we don't necessarily love, but like we end up getting more sales because of them in general. So I was selling on eBay, and now I sell primarily on Amazon. And of course, Amazon is way on the extreme of customer-centric, which is like, I could look at it as a seller and be like, oh shoot, like I am forced to do free returns. I'm forced to do returns for no reason. Like they don't have to have any reason and like say that's bad. But really it's a very, very good thing, because customers know they're going to get a good experience and they're more likely to buy from you or from someone on that platform, and so they go to that platform over and over again for all their purchases. So returns are good, but it does get scary when me as a seller have tons and tons of returns. On Amazon I sold mostly books for a long time, and a lot of that time I was doing anywhere between 10 and 18K in sales a month, and I would probably get 300 to 800 in returns every month. So I hardly even looked at it. I was pretty okay with that number. It didn't make a huge difference in my business. When restock limits happened in May, I transitioned to RA, and then a couple months later to online arbitrage. So RA is retail arbitrage, and OA is online arbitrage, where you buy from retail stores or buy from online retail stores, and then you sell back on Amazon. So in that case, the cost of goods is much higher, and if something happens with the item, it's a bit bigger of a deal, because the margin on a book is sometimes like 5x or even 100 times X, literally. If you buy a book for $1, sell it for $100. So like the buy cost and ROI is a lot bigger for books. But for RA and OA, oftentimes the margin is much, much smaller. Like even 100% ROI is like really big for that type of selling. So returns make a bigger difference in the RA and OA game. So as I started RA, returns, like they were obviously more, but they were still pretty manageable. But a couple months ago, I transitioned to selling more shoes and selling, I was selling some of those HP printers. There were some margins if you can buy them for cheap enough on eBay and then sell them back on Amazon. But November, I got hit with so many returns, because those are, like when I was buying and thinking about this category, those two categories, I was not thinking about the returns. So what I did is I was looking back at my month a while ago, and I had 3K, I think it was 3.5K in returns. And so for me, with the margins of RA and OA, and doing, I think I was doing around like 18K in sales a month. Like that was a big hit for me. And that's a big change from going from like 800 in returns a month to 3.5K of returns in a month. But to the point of this video, the point is that I've got to keep a bigger picture on what is actually going on, because when I dove into the numbers, like, I wasn't having as high of a margin, profit margin after all costs, after all returns, after all fees as I was wanting to have, but I still had, I think it was around 3,500 in profit for the month. So like, for the amount of sales that I was doing, that was absolutely fine. Like 3,500 and having 3,500 in returns is not bad. So the point of this is to keep the bigger picture in mind. What can I do? Number one, if I really care that much, I can sell things other than things that are in high return categories. I could sell something else. And that's slightly what I'm doing. I can also deal with this problem by just doing higher amounts of sales, and the profit margin still holds up if I continue to do the same things and list the same types of things. So I can make more profit in a month that way by just doing more sales. So the important thing is to keep the bigger picture in mind. Oftentimes resellers that like I see on social media, or like sellers that I see in person, are extremely scared of returns. Like even like $100 in returns. They just get really like worked up about it. And like that makes sense, like if they're not making that much in profit, and things we're barely working anyways, and then they get like $100 return. That's pretty devastating. So the point is this: if you're having returns, that's not the biggest deal in the world. If you can get yourself to get used to it, that'll be really helpful. But what you should do is look at all your numbers and make sure you're still making profit regardless of those returns. You need to make sure that your profit margins are high enough in order to account for those returns, and make sure that you know all of your numbers and make sure that you're making profit after those returns. So if you're into reselling on Amazon or eBay or 𝗦𝗁cie or Poshmark, and this is helpful for you, you should subscribe and come hang out more. Hope you guys have a good day. Bye-bye.